Hey guys, it's Christian from Archery Strong. Today I'm going to take you through 3 great stretches for the archer. Now we're going to dive into those stretches in just a second. Before that, I want to give you 3 things that are going to help you get the most out of these stretches and the other exercises and training that I share. The first thing is, with these stretches, our goal is to improve range of motion, meaning the total amount of movement that the shoulder has. That's important for an archer, particularly in the draw shoulder, because the draw shoulder is going to pass through a number of different ranges of motion, and to do so without injury, to do so smoothly, and to do so comfortably, that shoulder has to be freely moving. The second thing is that, remember, stretching and range of motion is just one component of a healthy, well-functioning archer from a physical capability component. So there are going to be other things that I'll address in videos as far as stability, strength, control of the shoulders, but for now we're focusing on just one piece of high-functioning shoulders for an archer, and that's stretching for range of motion. Finally, remember that everybody's shoulders are a little bit different. Some people have more range of motion, some people have less. So these aren't necessarily going to be perfect for everybody, but these are 3 stretches I find work really well for most archers and will serve you well for maximizing how well your shoulder moves. So now it's time to jump into the exercises. We'll head into the Archery Strong barn. Stretch number 1 is the 90-degree shoulder stretch. This is a great stretch to open up the chest, the musculature on the front of the shoulder, and that's an important stretch for the archer because if we're restricted or tight on the front side of the chest and shoulder, then it can prevent us from getting into full back tension. It can prevent us from keeping that bow shoulder down. So making sure you have enough flexibility here and free movement in the shoulder is important. For this stretch, you can use a bench, a chair, a couch, anything that is about 16 to 20 inches in height. So the devil is in the details in all 3 of these stretches, including this one. To set up for this stretch, you're going to be on both knees, and then you're going to have a supporting arm. This arm is supporting, and that's important because we don't want to put all of our weight into this stretch. We can adjust how deep we set into the stretch, and you can adjust how much weight you put into the stretch. So once you have that supporting arm down, notice that my entire forearm and the elbow is on the bench. That's really important because that's going to prevent us from elbow strain, which can occur in a lot of stretches that open up the front of the shoulder. So forearm is down, elbow's down, and I'm going to start at a 90-degree angle with my elbow. But one great thing about this stretch is you can tweak it and adjust it to fit what you feel. So some people are going to feel better a little higher. Some people will feel better a little bit lower. And again, you can adjust that so that it's comfortable and so that you get a good stretch. So at 90 degrees here, keeping my chest square, not turning at all, and avoiding arch in my lower back, I'm going to bend my supporting elbow and drop my chest straight to the floor. And now once I reach this position, I'm still supporting weight, and I'm starting to feel a stretch across the front of my chest. Notice I'm not dropping my stomach and arching my lower back. I'm simply bending that elbow and dropping my chest to the floor. And you want to hold here for just a light stretch, anywhere from 15 to 30, even up to 45 seconds on both sides. Stretch number 2 is the overhead lat, posterior shoulder, and thoracic spine stretch, meaning that we're going to hit a number of pieces of the whole entire shoulder complex and upper body in this stretch. Now this is a great one that you can do on both sides, but it's very helpful for the draw shoulder and its range of motion requirements, because when we draw, we have to go into flexion, internal rotation, and adduction across the body, which requires range of motion. This stretch is going to open those 3. So I'm going to be seated on a bench. You can use a bench, a chair, anything that allows you to sit comfortably. To set up the side that I'm stretching, I'm going to bring that arm up over my head. So I start in this position. From here, I'm just going to hold on to my fingers. Now what happens next is very important. I'm going to keep my hips and my stomach center and still, but I'm going to tip my shoulders So again, I'm not leaning all the way across, I'm just tipping my shoulders. As you do that, you'll feel a stretch through your lat, the outside of your shoulder, and even into your upper back. Just lightly tipping the shoulders. You can also think about pushing that armpit up into the corner of the room. Now, as another note, I'm not pulling down on this arm. I don't want to crank on my neck. So I'm just holding my fingers to keep that right arm in place as I tip my shoulders. Breathe, and every time you breathe out, you'll find an extra 1/4 inch of range of motion, and then you can switch sides. Stretch number 3 is the lumbar locked thoracic spine rotation. Now hang with me, there's a lot of details for this stretch. But what you'll notice and what's important about this stretch is this is an active stretch, meaning the previous two were passive stretches. We got in a position, we stretched and lengthened the muscle, and we just hung out there. This one's going to open up great range of motion for the archer as well, but it's going to be active, meaning you're going to produce some of that range of motion. And you'll see what I mean here in a second. So what you'll need for this is a wall. I'm just using this bench turned over for the simplicity of showing you on video, but you're going to get as tight as you can to the wall. Knees still have some spread between them. This detail is important. The inside arm that's closest to my wall is going to go against that wall. So elbows against that wall, forearms down, and I'm seated on my heels. Now you're almost ready to go into the stretch. The last step is we're going to take this other hand on the back of the head and retract this elbow back, just like back tension. So what we're doing here is we're getting the shoulder blade in a good position, and then we're going to create range of motion in the mid-back, important for rotation and position in archery. Hand is on the back of the head, elbows squeeze back. From here, that wall is blocking me. I'm going to rotate as far as I can, and then return back down. Nice and smooth, nice and slow. Rotate as far as you can, and then return back down. One thing that will be really helpful for you on this stretch is pushing with the elbow against the wall. So I'm pushing and helping create that range of motion. Elbows back, rotate as far as you can, head goes with it. Stay seated on the heels, and then return, and that can be repeated on the other side. Those are 3 great stretches for the archer. Give them time, stick with them. It does take time for them to cause change in the shoulders and the upper body and to create that new range of motion. If you found these helpful and valuable, Archery Strong has a variety of training options, everything from weekly shoulder, back, and core work that you can use, all the way up to fully customized training for your specific goals and needs. All of that can be found on archerystrong.com. Thanks for watching.